Good morning. This is Letty Patino once again. If you are new to watching these videos, this is my day 7 of my 22-a-day challenge to myself. I am doing mine a little bit different from everyone else. I know most people usually do 22 push-ups, or they do 22 squats, or they find 22 different ways of doing some form of exercise. But mine, I wanted to do a little bit different. I wanted to do 22 interviews with 22 different vets. And today I have my friend Wes here with me. He's a relatively new friend. It's a friend of a friend. But I'd like to do a quick short interview with him as far as his time in the service and any advice he might have for any future vets coming home and who might happen to run across this video someday. Who knows? That's the goal, right? So Wes, if you just please go ahead and introduce yourself and tell everybody where you're from.
I am Wes Evans. I'm from Maplewood, Minnesota. I served with the Marines for 4 years. I've been to Iraq and Afghanistan both, 4.5 months each.
What was your job with the Marines?
I was an admin, so a lot of paperwork, a lot of working with the commanding officers, sergeant majors. Everyone in the top chain of command would have to come through us for all their paperwork, all their everything. If they wanted a meeting, scheduled a lot of those. Went and picked up generals a lot of the time. Stationed out in Hawaii.
Okay.
So got a lucky on that one, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. Now, as far as the readjustment period, coming back home to the States and just getting back into readjusting to normal everyday living, because I realize you guys have your structure in the military. You have your day-to-day tasks, and suddenly you're back home and you're having to do life again. What would you say your best advice is for somebody trying to get back into it?
I would say for sure find something like an activity to do. I mean, the more you sit by yourself and wonder, the more you're going to think about things. So the more you're more out and being active, even if it's like if you continue with the exercise, running 3 miles or more a day, doing something to keep your mind free of, what you've been through, if you've been through anything traumatic like that. Sitting alone thinking about it, those thoughts are just going to turn. The more you're out and with people doing things, the better you're going to feel about it. Stay close with some of your buddies that you've served with. Keep that communication open. Mostly talking about it. Go to the VA if you need help.
Yeah.
They're there. They'll listen. They'll get you the help that you'll need. You also have to understand they got a horrible name. It might take them a couple of days to get you to a doctor, but if you go into every VA has an emergency clinic you can go into if you really, if it comes down to it, do it. Your life still matters.
Yeah.
We're losing more veterans post-service than anything, and if the resources are there if you need it.
Yeah.
It's not always easy when you get out. You're not told what to do anymore. Everything when you're in the service is there for you. You're told what to do. You're told what to wear. Told how to tie your shoes, what haircut to get. When you get out, you're gonna find things are more difficult. It's not like it used to be when you were in high school.
No.
You're married, your marriage is going to be different. It's manageable. You can do it, but it's just not the same.
No, and it's I'm sure it's a matter of learning to be this new, I guess, it's a new version of you. It's a completely new version of you.
Yeah.
And having to readjust to that and understand that maybe you're not the same person that you were before, but that doesn't mean that you cannot be a good version of the person that you are now, and that the person that you are now still serves a purpose. There is still a purpose
Right.
for you, and there is still, you know, a hope of life being better than whatever it seems, you know, it comes down to.
On the bright side of things, you know, you're at home, you're not in the war environment, you know, there's not that chance of you going back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still hard. I mean, you're told in the military that these are some of the hardest things you're ever going to do, but what they don't really prepare you for is, you know, the afterlife. But there's a lot of programs out there that'll help you, a lot of, you know, veteran associated, VFWs, the Legions. It helps there if you want it, you know, but you got to go get it. You can't lock yourself up and fall into the trap that happens to so many others.
Yeah. And I think, you know, just realizing that, you know, a lot of you guys just feel isolated and just kind of feel alone. I mean, am I correct in saying that you just feel like you're alone in that?
Like it's harder to talk to somebody that hasn't experienced it before.
Yeah.
Is what I'm like, you can't explain the feelings and the emotions to somebody of what happens when you go through things overseas. Like they have no way to relate to it or even understand. Like, they don't know what it's like to have a mortar land 15 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Like, knock the wind out of you, knock you over.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't explain that to somebody who's not really been through it, because they won't really understand the dramatic effect it has on somebody. Like, that's what like Kandahar, Afghanistan is one of the worst places you could go to. Like, you can't really explain to somebody who's never been to it. It's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, some guys out there, you know, they may have killed people. You know, there's no way they could talk to somebody who's never, you know, it's been in that situation. You know, it's hard to explain how somebody's feeling, what they're going through, you know, and then what it's like to live with that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that's, you know, harder for them to talk about. And you just have to reach out to the right people, because they're there to listen. They might, you know, they might not have been through it, but they're there to listen, and just talking about it helps.
Yeah. So, you know, it'd probably be, I would assume, I mean, I feel like a lot of you guys, you kind of gravitate towards each other. So, like, finding those connections that you serve with, and other, maybe not necessarily even serve with, but just other people that can relate.
I mean, the doctors at the VA, they talk to, you can't even count how many people they talk to. You know, they've talked to people with the same issues that you're dealing with, so they know, they've been around it. That's what they do all day, every day.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, they're there. They might have not been through it, but they know a lot of people who have been through it and have heard their stories and helped them get through it.
Yeah.
You know, we've lost more veterans after the war than we've actually lost people actively serving in the war.
Yeah.
And that's an issue, and it's a good thing that it's being addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. What advice would you have for us as civilians to help you guys along the way?
Everyone needs a kick in the ass. I mean, we might not talk about it with you, but you know where to send them. You know, you can get them there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is a lot of them are too humble. You know, at first I didn't want to go, but I had a friend and she cared. She made me go. She dropped me off, said, I'll come pick you back up when you call me.
Yeah.
So just the encouragement. It's okay.
Yes,
you're not alone.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time that you took to do this with me, and I appreciate your service. You know, I know everybody says thank you for your service, but like really thank you for, you know, for the role that you played and the part that you played, and just, you know, thanks. Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
If you have anything else you want to say, any other message you want to get across,
don't be stubborn. I know when you're gonna want to be. Don't be. Take the help if you need it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate Wes. Really appreciate
No problem.
You have a good day, okay?
You too.